What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and this is going to be my banner review of the banner featuring Ascended Fjorm, Malice, Wolf, Roshea, and also Vyland. So I'll be going over the builds that you can run on them for different game modes like Arena, Ether Raids, and PvE, and I'll also be giving my comprehensive review on them. If you do enjoy these banner reviews, then I would really appreciate if you could freeze that like and subscribe button just like Fjorm, and with that said, let us begin. Ascended Fjorm carries this banner really hard, and for a good reason, because she is one of the best Farsive units in the entire game because of her weapon and her stat spread. So she's a 190 BST axe armor unit with 39 base attack and 41 base speed. Because of being an Ascended unit, she can easily get an Ascended asset without using any kind of floret. You can check out my floret guide if you have any kind of confusion about how Ascended florets work, but basically this allows her to have a better offense, and she also has pretty good resistance at base 36, which goes really well with her special Ice Mirror, which we have seen on normal Fjorm. Fjorm's weapon is really unique, giving her -1 special cooldown and also having distant counter built into it, and if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, which is really easy to do by using the Farsave skill, then she can restore 7 HP after the combat, and she also gets null counter disrupt against ranged opponents. So this is extremely good as a Farsave tank because no other armor can have null counter disrupt because that skill is not available to armor units, and Fjorm has this built into her weapon, so that makes a lot of the problematic matchups quite easy for a save ball tanking team because Fjorm can handle healers with flash and also fire sweep bow users, and this makes her a very unique Farsive unit, and no other armor unit can do what Fjorm can do. She also has Hardy Fighter as a new fighter skill, and there are not too many units who can make use of this. Fjorm is definitely one of them, and this has got a big description, but here I've simplified it. So Hardy Fighter basically gives you partial null follow-up, stopping foes' auto follow-up attacks. This means that she will not get doubled by someone like Bramimond or Dual Lift. She also gets the Shield Pulse effect, so she can pre-charge her Ice Mirror at start of a map, and she can also reduce the damage further by 5 points. And then finally, this skill can increase the damage reduction that you get from defensive specials like Ice Mirror, Aegis, Pavis, Secret Cowl, and stuff like that. So with this skill, Ice Mirror basically gives you 51% damage reduction, and with Aegis and Pavis you essentially get 75% damage reduction. Like I said before, this skill is pretty niche, so there are not too many armor units who would like to have this because they're going to be missing out on their damage output. But Brave Hector is definitely one of those armor units that I've seen use this Hardy Fighter skill to a good effect, and this is mainly to make him as a really annoying unit to face in Ether Raids defense, maybe on a Catria Ball team. So you can have Aegis as a special and have Hardy Fighter and Steady Breath so that he can always have Aegis charged up. So obviously this Hector is going to be lacking in the damage output because he's not running Bonfire, so not going to be able to get a lot of the kills, but still he can be really resilient to a lot of the magical or ranged attackers who are going to be trying to snipe you. So this is an alternate option for Brave Hector. It's not like his best build or anything like that, that's still the Special Fighter, Bonfire, Mystic Boost build. But still, this is a specialized build to make it so that it's really annoying for the opponent to snipe your Brave Hector on your Ether Raids defense team. Overall, Ascended Fjorm is a very strong Farsave armor unit and certainly is going to be a meta-defining armor unit for something like Ether Raids, and her playstyle is a bit different compared to a lot of the other Farsave armor units in my opinion, because Fjorm wants to stack up attack and speed because she doesn't get an auto follow-up with her base kit, so a lot of the fast units can be really annoying for her, and that's why you want to stack up speed and attack on her so that she can get the kills and also not get outsped and double herself. She can get the damage reduction from Ice Mirror and most of the time survive, and this is her matchup chart against the common ranged threats that you're going to be facing in Arena. So as you can see, some of the matchups which are a bit annoying for her are actually from the units who have damage reduction or they are really fast. SAIYAN Leaf is one of those units who has got Miracle in his weapon, so he's always going to be surviving to trigger the Wings of Mercy of an ally, and Winter Bernadetta with her damage reduction and her high speed can also be an annoyance to Fjorm. Summer Mia, even though she has kind of fallen off because of a lot of the auto follow-up weapons, she can still be an annoyance to Ascended Fjorm, so you have to watch out for that. Dual Lift is surprisingly not that bad of a matchup for Ascended Fjorm despite the weapon strangle advantage, because Hardy Fighter can disable his auto follow-up, and then Ice Mirror can just do the damage reduction and attack him back. Now keep in mind that Ice Mirror is a special damage reduction skill, it is not a passive skill. So stuff like Deadeye, stuff like Dual Lift, units who can cut through the damage reduction are not able to cut through Ice Mirror because it's a special. If you take a look at the description of any of these skills like Deadeye for example, it will say that it only just ignores the damage reduction from the passive skills and not from special skills. So that's why Ice Mirror definitely gives a big edge to Fjorm with her damage reduction playstyle. So she can survive, but killing Dual Lift is going to be hard because he can be really bulky. Some of the dual lifts can actually run guard so that they survive and then a dancer can just teleport, and because he had guard, you will not be able to charge up your Ice Mirror for the next combat. So dual lift is still going to be a threat if he runs guard or if he's on a Calyrex ball team, but Fjorm is not going to be easily dying to him because of Ice Mirror, so that's at least good. And you can definitely stack up enough attack and maybe give her sabotage defense support or something like that, so that dual lift can actually die in a single round of combat, because ideally you do not want him to survive and trigger Wings of Mercy of other units. Other ranged units like Bramimon, Veronica, Chrom, Reinhardt, Lilina are actually not that big of a deal. Lilina does quite a bit with the AoE special, but if you play well and have Fjorm outside of the AoE range, then you can basically let the other units take the AoE damage, and then in the combat, Ascended Fjorm can easily handle Legendary Lilina. And with this matchup chart, you can see how well she does and against what kind of units and playstyles she will struggle against, because here you can see Legendary Leaf still does a lot of damage to her because of the brave hits. So Calyrex ball teams are going to be a big annoyance for Ascended Fjorm. Units with guard and in general ruse skills and Triandra's dance is going to be something you have to watch out for, because you want the Ice Mirror to be charged at all times so that you can take the hit, reduce the damage, and then add it to your next attack and do a lot more damage back to these kinds of enemies. Having listed both her pros and cons, I think that Ascended Fjorm is certainly a top tier Far Save Armor unit. For her builds, her base kit is already really good, but you can definitely run a Sacred Seal like attack defense form, because like I said before, Fjorm likes to stack attack so that she can kill a lot of these bulky units, and also wants to stack up speed. You can also go with attack speed unity in her slot A so that you can basically deal with the debuffs that are going to be from the chill skills, Mirabilis' Dance, or Bright Shrine or something like that. So that can allow her to have even better offenses, and that is again the point of Fjorm, to stack up enough attack and speed so that she doesn't struggle against her annoying matchups. For her support, you could definitely try to run Kinshi Hinoka. I certainly prefer Kinshi Hinoka over Flame because she already gets the damage reduction, and you can stack the damage reduction, but in my opinion the rain debuffs which Kinshi Hinoka can provide are a lot more useful, because she can also provide you with some extra speed, which is going to be helping you a lot in many matchups. But still, if you want to have more damage reduction, then Flame and of course Niffle are an option. Niffle can provide you with some extra speed and resistance with her Domain of Ice. One thing I will definitely say after watching some of my Ether Raid's defense replays is that Ascended Fjorm is a good unit. She's a really good unit, but keep in mind that she's not invincible. Against certain teams and matchups, you definitely have to play carefully and make use of the supports like Kinshi Hinoka, Flame, and Niffle to make it sure that she can secure the KOs and not get killed against many kind of threatening teams. So supports are definitely a big part of her play, so you should definitely try to inculcate that. Fjorm only has null counter disrupt against ranged opponents, so melee opponents, if Fjorm is affected by the flash effect, can still be annoying to her. So you could try to run a near save armor unit or a melee specialist who can just focus on the melee matchups, and Fjorm focuses on the ranged matchups. Fjorm can also be run in Ether Raid's defense on a Calyrex ball team or just as a Far Save Armor unit. Deflect Missile is going to be extremely useful against Legendary Leaf and also Ninja Lin, who are going to be common units that many people use on their offense teams. Finally, if you do decide to plus and merge Ascended Fjorm, then she can be a really good unit in Arena as well because of her 190 BST. So she can be a good scoring unit and also help you in the combat because she can take care of pretty much all of the ranged threats that you're going to be facing in Arena, which are going to be the most annoying units. So she can work there with a Stance 3 skill. Kestra's Stance can help you a bit, giving you some extra firepower, and you can just have a Form Sacred Seal. So for her IVs, I think that attack and speed are the best ones for Fjorm because, as I've said many times, speed is necessary so that she can double, and attack is also necessary so that she can get the KOs. Malice is a Gen 6 Sword Infantry unit with Spendy Scimitar as her preferred weapon. This gives her -1 special cooldown, and this weapon is always active in the player phase, but in the enemy phase she needs to be within 2 spaces of an ally. Similar to Farina's weapon, her weapon also requires you to spend Dragon Flowers on her if you want to have this at max potential. If she has been given 2 or more dragon flowers, then she can get +6 to all of her stats and also gets the anti-guard and anti-special cooldown acceleration. So this effect is really similar to Creator's Sword. Actually, her entire weapon is really similar to that. So she just trades the null follow-up of Creator's Sword for +6 to all of her stats with this weapon. Malice's stat spread is actually pretty good, having 43 base speed, which is really good with the super boon, and also base 39 attack with a super boon in it. Her resistance is also not that low compared to a lot of the damage reduction tanks, but in my opinion, she functions a lot better in the player phase as a Gale Force unit than she does as a damage reduction tank. The reason being is that there are a lot of sword infantry units who have got null follow-up in their weapon or have got some kind of different effect that can help them tank. This kind of effect that she has got helps her a lot more in the player phase for Gale Forcing because she doesn't really care about the guard skill that the enemies have got, and she doesn't really care about the 1 cooldown special enemies or the enemies who have got special fighter and steady breath to retaliate back with the special. So Malice can survive those encounters because of the null special acceleration and not really care about the guard effect, so she can easily Gale Force, and Gale Force becomes a 4-turn special because of her weapon. She's got a lot more stats than a lot of the other sword infantry units, but still she's always going to be having the competition in that class. And we also have Brave Marth, who has got null follow-up in his weapon, so you can pretty much do the damage reduction tank build a lot better than Malice. But like I said, you can definitely specialize Malice into a Gale Force unit, which I think that she definitely prefers over just being another sword infantry tank. For her builds on a budget, you can definitely go with Attack Smoke and just stick with Luna as her special and have a solo Sacred Seal. Keep in mind that if you want to get most out of her weapon, you need to at least give her 2 Dragon Flowers, and 3 Dragon Flowers is really good because she can get extra stats to her attack, speed, and HP. She can definitely function as a Gale Force unit even on a budget with attack speed push 4, and she can also function as a tank. Like I said, she's not the best at it, but if you want to make her work as that, she can certainly do that with her Gen 6 stat spread, and this is certainly a build you can use at max investment or high investment. She loves having Time Pulse as her slotsy skill if she's not running Gale Force, because you can have a 2-turn special like Moonbow, Glimmer, or Ruptured Sky and have it pre-charged, so you can trigger it twice in the player phase in a single round of combat if the enemy can retaliate back. So that is amazing for offensive power. You can also use her in Ether Raid's offense as a Gale Force unit. She can function with Wings of Mercy, just drop in, not really care about the guard effect or the special acceleration of the enemy, and simply Gale Force. On the other hand, if you want to use her as an initiator, then she certainly works with that as well, with Odd Tempest and Null Follow-Up in her slot B skill. So Odd Tempest allows her to have the 3 movement, which is extremely good. You can also run Even Tempest depending on when you want to initiate, but usually with the Gale Force teams, I like to initiate turn 1, and she can actually fall into the Wings of Mercy range by facing the standard note, and I've actually calced that. And you might think that running a sword infantry unit against note is going to be a bit annoying, but Malice can actually kill her, and I personally use my Gale Force Eliwood to initiate against a lot of the notes, and that's how I set up my Gale Force in the light season, so she can certainly work in that role as well. You can also use her as a 1-tap Gale Force unit by running Time Pulse and Quicken Pulse. So this allows you to have Gale Force at 2 cooldown. So if you're using a lot of Savage Blow or you're using Bolt Tower with your Gale Force team, then she just needs to hit once and she will trigger her Gale Force right away. So that can really be helpful, and ideally you want to have Gale Force at either 2 cooldown or 4 cooldown, which Malice can easily do. Finally, if you want to use her in Arena at max investment, then you can run the Distant Counter build, and I think that having Time Pulse for pre-charged Ruptured Sky is really good, and Null Follow-Up really helps you in the arena because you've got units who have got Follow-Up negation, like Fallen Edelgard for example, so this goes really well with her weapon and can certainly help you get the 1-round KOs. She might not have the damage reduction skill, but she's still not really too frail because her weapon can give her +6 to all of her stats. Wolf is a colorless bow cavalier with Keen Coyote Bow as his preferred weapon. This gives him +3 attack, and as long as he's above 25% HP, he can get +6 to attack and speed and also get a conditional Desperation. So he can free up his slot B skill and he doesn't really have to run Desperation in his kit. And this is really similar to Persecution Bow of Bernadetta. In fact, this is much better because of having even better and flexible condition. His offensive stat spread is really fantastic with base 39 attack having a super boon in it and base 42 speed. His defenses don't really matter that much as long as he can trigger the conditional Desperation in his weapon and double attack anyways. Having said that, he's going to be having a lot of trouble against many of the units who have got follow-up negation skills, so he's not going to be able to get the Desperation effect because Cavaliers don't have access to Flow Refresh or Null Follow-Up. So those kinds of units with follow-up negation skills are going to be the biggest problems for Wolf because he's not going to be able to double attack them and they're going to be really bulky, so he cannot really kill them with a single attack. Still, he's a really solid Bow Cavalier with his offensive stat spread. For his builds on a budget, you can definitely go with Blade Session as a Sacred Seal and Moonbow as a special. He's mainly going to be a player phase unit, so that's why Blade Session is the perfect Sacred Seal to have the max offenses on him. You can also run a Loud skill if you can afford to do that in his slot B. Loud speed defense is perfect for him. He already has Desperation with his weapon. And at high investment and max investment, you can definitely try to give him the attack speed cat skill along with a menace skill so that he can easily activate it. And attack defense fortress is going to be giving him the counter utility, which allows for better hit and run plays. So at max investment, you can certainly run a build like this with Deadeye and also the Ascended Asset. If you do not have a good Bow Cavalier to be run on an Aether8's defense team like SAIYAN Leaf or something like that, then Wolf can definitely be used and he can get really high offenses with this kind of build. It is certainly going to be a bit expensive with ARD attack speed, but on a budget you can still run him with life and death. And low speed defense is going to be perfect because in the dark season, people are going to be using Peony when they're going to be attacking you, and all of those buffs can simply be negated with that skill. You can also run Lancebreaker if you find Brave Hector annoying, but a lot of the high and max investment ones are going to be able to still tank him and just kill him back. So this kind of Wolf with ARD attack speed and Blade Session can stack up ridiculous amounts of attack and speed. So he can hit 91 attack and 76 speed, which is definitely really threatening. And if you do not have follow-up negation, then Wolf is going to be killing you most of the time. You can also use him as a hit and run unit in Aether8's offense. You can certainly use the Fortress skill for the counter effect, and with safety fence, plays like this are definitely possible. And finally, if you want to use him in arena, then he's definitely one of the best colorless Bow Cavaliers to make use of C-Dual Cavalry 4. Because he has got Desperation in his weapon, he can certainly use a Fortress skill and provide you with a lot of good utility. His high attack and Deadeye can also be extremely good for taking out many of the bulky units. Roshea is a Gen 6 Lance Cavalier with 173 BST, and he is the 4-star focus unit of this banner, and after this he's going to be available in the 3-star 4-star pool. He's present in a very saturated pool of Lance Cavaliers, and a lot of the premium Lance Cavaliers, even at unmerged, can provide you such unique utility which Roshea just cannot provide you even at max investment. Brave Erica and also Brave Eliwood being one of the examples. Brave Eliwood does have the new Weapon Refine, and Legendary Ephraim also has got his unique Weapon Refine and also his remix. So even those premium units at low investment are going to be better than Roshea at max investment. Having said that, even in the free-to-play pool, he does face competition from Petrine. Petrine is still going to be better because of Flame Lance and the fact that at some point, she's going to be getting a Weapon Refine much before than Roshea, and her offensive stat spread is actually not that bad compared to him. She's faster and she's only missing out on some attack points, but in the end, Flame Lance is going to be making up for that by giving her the magical damage. She of course doesn't have defense of Roshea, but still has better resistance. He can also be considered like a Gen 6 version of Neo Lake Yarn because he has really similar stat spread, having a bit less speed for a bit more attack and pretty similar bulk overall. You can also compare him to some of the Lance Cavaliers from the Summon pool, Ferdinand being in the 3-star 4-star pool and Spring Minerva being the 4-star special unit. Roshea does have more defense and attack than Ferdinand, but everything else Ferdinand has got a bit higher. Spring Minerva does have the speed super boon, so she's going to be a lot faster, and she can also have a similar attack stat, so she can just function as a much better Lance Cavalier despite being an older unit. As a unit, Roshea really has it hard because of being a Lance Cavalier, and as a fodder he does provide you with Stout Lance, which is basically a non-seasonal version of Courtly Candle, and this is really good if you don't really want to fodder off your Dancer Eldigan. And he also provides you with speed defense form at 4-star. So this is a pretty nice budget skill honestly, but it's a bit weird on this kind of unit who has got Stout Lance, which actually wants to get doubled, but then speed defense form basically gives him extra speed. And his speed is actually not that bad, and it's certainly workable. On a budget, Roshea can definitely run Quick Repose as a slot B skill and run another form, Sacred Seal, and you can try to have him at max investment with this kind of build. He doesn't have a lot of good lances in the free-to-play pool. You can get Flowing Lance, but again it's seasonal locked. So Slaying Lance can be a good decent budget option with a solo Sacred Seal and also solo in the slot A skill. So you can definitely make him into a speedy Cavalier if you stack enough speed at max investment. And with this kind of build, he can certainly double many units and also trigger his Bonfire in a single round of combat. If you want to go with a more expensive build, then Flowing Lance is a really fantastic option, giving him the lull skill, and then he can run a Near Trace skill so that he can have the counter utility. The Cat skill and Menace skill have really good synergy, and if you want to maximize his speed, then these two skills are going to be extremely good. If you want to use him in Ether Raid's offense, then in my opinion the best use of him is by using his attack stat with something like its Curtains and with Heavy Blade and Gale Force. So if you're a big fan of him and if you use a Floret on him, then he can certainly run a build like this. You can also use him with Ninja Yari Plus so that he can quad attack, and the extra speed is much appreciated on a speedy build like this. And finally in Arena, you can also use him with B-Dual Cavalry 4. Vyland is a 173 BST Axe Cavalier who's going to be present in the 3-star 4-star pool, and for people who have been playing right now, they have gotten 2 copies of him at 5-star for free. He has got Unbound Axe Plus, which is basically a non-seasonal version of Dex Swabber, which we have already gotten before, but I guess if you don't really want to kill off your Darrows, then this is an option in the regular summoning pool. He also has Attack Defense Push 3 and Attack Defense Link 3, and Attack Defense Link is going to be available at 3-star. He's got a super boon in his attack, unlike Roshea who has no super boons, so that is definitely going to be the boon that many people are going to be going with. He can also be compared to Lex, who's the best Axe Cavalier in the free-to-play pool because of Goddess Axe, and Vyland is basically Lex without a preferred weapon with a higher BST. Lex might not have the higher visible attack like Vyland, but still at the end of the day he has got a dual phase brave weapon which makes him unique and stand out. For a budget build, you can just run Bonfire on Vyland and have Attack Smoke with Quick Riposte. He can just function as a smite tank and can take on some of the physical threats. If you want to use him in Arena Assault, then he can certainly be used with Lance Breaker so that he can double attack a lot of the faster common +10 Lance enemies like Legendary Dimitri for example, and he can also run Attack Defense solo. The Unbound Axe and its lull skill is going to be helping you in Arena Assault against enemies who do have the visible buffs. Slaying Hammer can also be utilized to make him into a Fallen Edelgard check with Quick Riposte and Slot B and Attack Defense solo as a Sacred Seal. And here's the calculation against a +10 max invested Fallen Edelgard with full merges, and he can easily kill her in the enemy phase. So if you do have trouble with her, maybe in something like Arena Assault, then you could try to run that kind of build. If you want to give him some expensive skills, then Attack Defense Cats is definitely the one which he appreciates a lot because this is active in both phases and it can also work off the debuffs, so you can run something like a Menace skill or a Smoke skill to just activate it, and he can run Quick Riposte in his Slot B and have Attack Defense solo as a Sacred Seal. If you want to use a different weapon with him, then Plagian Axe is also a really strong option and can work with a Menace skill or a Smoke skill, and you can have lull attack defense in Slot B because he no longer has the lull skill in his weapon like he does with Unbound Axe. And in Arena, he can be used with Attack Defense Near Trace. This does give you the attack and defense debuff in the enemy phase as well, but in the player phase, he can certainly use this for the counter utility because he's got high enough attack to many times one-shot many of the frail units and just retreat with that Near Trace skill. If you want to invest into his speed, then Springy Axe Plus is an option, and you'll have to just commit all the way with Summoner Support, Dragon Flowers, and expensive skills like Attack Speed Catch, Menace, and also the Near Trace skill. And this kind of Vyland at absolute max investment is going to be having more than 64 speed. So I hope you all enjoyed this banner review. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. And if you really enjoyed, you can always support me directly by becoming a YouTube member or by using super thanks down below. I want to thank all of my YouTube members, and for more Roshea Analysis videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Special Fighter against Malice. So that's it, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.